Grace plus faith. Some pastors and churches teach that grace is separate from faith. Grace is God's part and faith is man's part. Grace plus faith equals salvation. God's part plus man's part equals partnership. 50% plus 50% equals 100%. Half grace. In this equation, only half is part of God and the other half is part of man. Salvation is a partnership between God and man. Notice carefully, even faith is considered a man's part. In this teaching, God is at mercy of the ability of man to believe, and man is at the mercy of a little grace to be saved. All teachings about salvation can be grouped in three categories: no grace, by works alone, 100% different gospel; half grace, by grace plus works, 50% plus 50% perverted gospel; full grace, by grace alone, 100% true gospel. If faith is considered as man's part, then it becomes man's work. Anything that is legitimately from humans is considered to be man's work. Anything that isn't yours or that you just received, then it is grace. You can't give yourself a gift, but you can reward yourself. A gift in its pure sense must come from someone else, and you have no part in it. In the doctrine of no grace or by works, salvation is the reward of man's work. The center and emphasis of this teaching is on human performance. There is no certainty of such salvation, just as man's work. In this teaching of half grace or by grace plus works, salvation is a gift and a price. The center and emphasis of this teaching lies in a little of God's grace and additional man's work. This teaching implies that grace alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by works. Then often say, God helps those who help themselves. Nothing could be farther from the truth. This is absolutely wrong. The Apostle Paul writes, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Romans chapter 5, verse 8. The doctrine of man. Where does the false doctrine of salvation come from? The false doctrine of salvation comes from the false doctrine of man or the doctrine of man. This teaching has three major parts: the creation of man, the fall of man, and the salvation of man. The three of them are connected to each other. When you make a mistake in one, everything is wrong. For example, if creation of man is wrong, then fall of man must be wrong. And then, of course, salvation of man is very wrong. The creation of man. One of the greatest teachings in the Bible is the creation of man. God is a triune God, 1 John chapter 5, verse 7. So is man a triune being, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23. Man is spirit, soul, and body, or trichotomy. In the original Greek, it is much clearer because each of these has a definite article: pneuma, the spirit; suka, the soul; soma, the body. There are also pastors and churches that teach body and soul, or dichotomy. According to them, man is made up of two parts, body and soul. Spirit and soul are one. This is a false teaching. First, there is no direct verse that would prove this belief. Second, this belief is based solely on reason that spirit and soul are interchangeable used in the Bible. Admittedly, but this does not mean that spirit and soul are one. Even in the Old Testament, heart and spirit were also used interchangeably. This is not a problem. In fact, if you encounter this, all you have to do is consult the context to determine if what is being referred to is spirit or soul, or vice versa. This reason is not enough to erase the clear verse that says that man is spirit, soul, and body, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23. Besides, there is a general principle in hermeneutics stating that we should base our interpretation on clear passages and not on vague ones. To God be the glory. God bless you.